Chris, and I'm back with Val from Because Geek to continue our Game of Thrones Season 6 prediction series. And today we're going to be talking about Daenerys Targaryen and all the people around her, since we haven't been able to fit every single character we wanted to into this series. So we'll be getting into some of her storyline in the East, and perhaps where she ends up in the West, or should I say South or Southwest.
So a quick recap for Dany in Season 5. She was dealing with the Sons of the Harpy throughout the entire season. They were killing her men. They were able to actually catch one of them. Mostador, the guy from her small council, took justice into his own hands and killed the guy. So then Dany had to show the people that they need to obey the laws, so she just went and friggin' beheaded the guy in front of everyone, and so he was a former slave. Of course, all of the former slaves started like hissing at her, and then she decided that she had to marry his daughter, that was a good idea. She finally gave the word to open the fighting pits, and then that's how she met Tyrion. Jorah brought Tyrion through the fighting pits. Then Tyrion started counseling Dany, and after that they had another event at the fighting pits. That was when the Sons of the Harpy had that huge attack, and they started attacking even the Masters. And then Drogon came and saved Dany and flew off, and Drogon just like dropped Dany off in the middle of the Dothraki Sea, and then the Dothraki came and captured her. Lazy ass dragon.
Right? Looks like he'd been gorging on things there for a long while, but he couldn't just fly back home.
Okay, then what happens? Right after she gets captured by the Dothraki, she gets taken to Vaes Dothrak. Yes, it's actually pronounced Vaes Dothrak. I thought it was Vaes Dothrak for the longest time, and then I looked it up.
So we know by the teasers and trailers that's came out so far that Dany's being taken to Vaes Dothrak, and she's going to become a crone like she's supposed to, being a former Khaleesi, going backwards to go forward piece as far as the prophecy of Quaithe. She's going to be taken back there. A lot of people have seen in this trailer that she's been stripped, and they think, oh, this is going to be a rape scene. She's not going to get raped, although they're not going to treat her well. I think her overall theme here is she's got to earn their respect and show them that she is powerful and strong, like we saw in the clip of Jorah telling her the Dothraki only follow strength.
Yes, they only follow strength, and they don't allow any blood to be spilled in Vaes Dothrak. So just like Viserys died, burned. So, you know, burning someone is not the same as spilling blood.
So yeah, there will be carnage, but I don't think we're going to see bloodshed according to their rules. Then again, that is their rules, not her rules. I don't think she'll disrespect their laws. I think she'll try to gain their support slowly over time. I think that's going to be the drama there. Otherwise, it's just going to be her. She gets captured. Drogon flies in, saves the day, and that will take about 10 seconds. She's going to have to gain their respect over time, and she'll start with the Dash Kalina, I'm sure. Because at this point, she doesn't know Drogon's coming or what. So she thinks she's on her own. She has no idea if anybody's ever going to show up and find her. She's going to have to kind of work her way up and get some respect here and make the best out of this new life as far as she knows. So she's probably going to start off telling these guys, all right, look, this is who I am. This is what I can do. I've been here. I've done this. I've done that. And they say, I don't give a shit who you are, Khaleesi of nothing, millionth of your name. We don't give a damn. Keep moving. This is where you're going. This is what you're going to be.
So I'm thinking that Dany makes it to Vaes Dothrak in episode 1. It's going to be like a cliffhanger at the end of episode 1. We don't know what's going to happen to her after she gets there. We find out in episode 2. I think that's how it may happen. But it does look like she was walking for a long time, because in the pictures that we saw, they were taking a break because she was sitting on the ground just resting. And there's also another picture where she's talking to the Khal, and it looks like she's in the same area. So it looks like a lot of things were happening as she was walking to Vaes Dothrak.
Yeah, and that's going to be one hell of a long walk. They're showing her no respect. She don't even have a horse.
But yeah, so I think the whole walk will just be episode 1. And then she looks up at the horses and she gets to Vaes Dothrak. Although one thing is that in that clip, she gets to Vaes Dothrak and that's when she meets Khal Draco. I don't know if that's when she meets him for the first time. If she meets him in Vaes Dothrak for the first time, then that talk from that teaser trailer with the burning banner of the Targaryen house, when he tells her, you know, you're Khaleesi of nothing.
Millionth of your name.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's going to happen in the hut, like when they're in Vaes Dothrak.
And so we know by the trailers that Dario and Jorah are looking for. We saw them leave Meereen last season, and we know from the trailers that he does find her ring, her breadcrumb. Not to mention the thousands of horse tracks would help them find out where the hell she is. Although I think Jorah and Dario will get to where she is, I think ultimately Drogon will rescue her, and they won't actually have to do the rescuing.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be the ones to rescue her, but I did hear Mikhail Husman?
Name butcher!
Damn it! The guy who plays Dario did say at the premiere that he was going to get some good moments in his storyline. So a good Dario moment for me would be when he killed that champion outside of the walls of Meereen. So I kind of feel like we will see Dario just kill someone else in a really cool way.
Got him! So we know Dany's also still holding a grudge from this clip in season 2 when her blood rider rode off trying to find out where the hell they were going. As they were walking through the Red Waste, the horse comes back, has the head in the bag, and Dany comes up and says, let me see. And Jorah says, you don't want to see this shit. And she says, let me see the blood of my blood. His head was cut off. And Jorah says it's probably the work of Calpono or Cal Jacko because they're not comfortable with a woman leading a Khalasar. Then Shiv, of course, says they won't be happy about it once she finishes with them.
Yes, and there's also another blood rider who said in an interview that he sees a lot of people die around him. We don't know if this is when everyone is getting burnt, assuming Drogon is gonna burn everyone. Or it could be when they go to Meereen, if they go to Meereen and they're fighting the Sons of the Harpy there. I kind of want it to be when everyone's getting burnt, so.
Yeah, I've been saying Dothraki barbecue for the last 3 videos, so it better happen.
Well, quick point I wanted to make about that scene where we see Drogon flying above everyone. I kind of got a feeling in the last trailer that that is going to happen after Dany has her Dothraki army with her. Judging by how calm the horses looked, I feel like they weren't freaking out enough when they saw the dragon. I feel like they were like, oh, that's her dragon coming with us. I don't know, that's the feeling I got from it.
Then again, the way they edited that, it could go either way. So once Dany gets to Bas Dothrak, we know she goes to the main hut, or whatever in the hell the Dothraki call their buildings, and we see her getting stripped in the teaser by the other crones there, and I think this is just some kind of a ritual here to get her into her Das Khaleen clothing.
And then I think that scene that we also got in the teaser where she goes to touch the brazier, I think that's going to happen after she has gone through that. The people that you can kind of see in the background, it's really blurry, but apparently there's some people sitting down on the ground. They look too calm for it to be the scene where they're stripping her down, so I think that's going to happen after. And we did get a clip of when they were filming that hut burning down, so we know that that's gonna... you know.
So the question is, if this hut burns, is it Drogon? Obviously, more than likely, sure. But will Dany be inside of it and have another magical moment where she walks out untouched, and that's when they finally bow down to her as their new Khaleesi?
Right, because that's what we were discussing, that Dany has to show strength somehow, and the only way we can think of is by not getting hurt by the fire.
And that goes into the little brazier scene where we have the Das Khaleen stripping her out down. We saw the clip from the teaser and the trailer where she's touching this hot brazier with fire in it. This may be her trying to prove to them before Drogon shows up that she's kind of special.
Something else that I have been predicting for a while is that Dany will begin to bond with someone when she's in Bas Dothrak. I think there will be some storyline developing there, some new characters that she meets, and I don't think things are going to happen too fast. I think she's going to be staying there for a while. We also have from that clip from Spain where she's walking outside next to another girl, so I think that may be the girl that she bonds with. We'll have to see, but it looks like she's going to stay there for a while before she leaves.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to my thoughts. I think she will start kind of bonding with a few of these people inside of the Khalasar before she gets to the cows and all that kind of stuff, until she realizes that she's got to ultimately show them strength through fire and blood.
We do know that she meets Tyrion again, so I think they do go back to Meereen after she gets her Khalasar. Oh, there's also a clip in that Best in the House video where they show fire in Bas Dothrak, and not only fire, but they also show a bunch of slaves or Dothraki people walking towards the fire. Like, you can see them looking up, kind of like shocked or mesmerized, and they look very orange, so it kind of looks like they're looking into a huge fire. So I think those may be the people that follow Dany after she leaves too. She's not just gonna leave with blood riders, like she's gonna leave with a huge group of slaves, like she's gonna liberate them too.
Alright, so we think that Dany's probably going to be there a while, probably throughout the whole season or most of it, so there's going to be some drama there, but in the meantime, in her stead, she's got a city to rule, and she's going to do that obviously through Tyrion, Missandei, and Grey Worm, while she's missing and Jorah and Daario are out looking for her. So Tyrion's going to need some help. He's going to obviously release the dragons, or at least attempt to, as we saw in the trailer, and he's going to need some help with the people of Meereen while they still fight the Harpy situation, and that's going to be through the Red Priestess Kinvara. We saw her in the new trailer. She's going to come in. I think they're going to have to use her as a political tool, whether they believe in religion or not, because we know Varys hates magic and magical people because he had a bad experience. So Kinvara is going to be the Red Priestess who probably actually believes in Dany, so Kinvara will be the character or political tool for Tyrion to get the people back believing in Misa again.
Yeah, and I also get a feeling that this Red Priestess, okay, will be able to change her appearance. Why do I think this? Well, because Melanie Liber was already confirmed to be a Red Priestess. I may be wrong, but I do feel like there's only going to be one Red Priestess. There was a picture of Melanie Liber on set with her Red Priestess costume, and she's preaching to the Meereenese people. And then in the trailer we get this other completely different actress. Could it be possible that this Red Priestess can just change her appearance?
So you're saying they could possibly introduce glamoring, which we haven't seen yet in the show. We know in the books that people get glamored. If you show only watchers, that's a little power, a little trick Melisandre can do where she makes somebody look like somebody else. So could we see glamoring be involved in the show? And that could tie to a lot of other stories as well, including Melisandre back at the wall.
And including Shay. I don't know why I get a feeling like maybe this Red Priestess will make herself look like Shay for Tyrion to influence him in some way.
So ultimately, we know that she's going to head back to Westeros, but first will she stop over in Volantis? We did see the trailer where Yara was kissing the girl from Volantis, who is a whore slave from Volantis. You can see by the teardrop tattoo on her face. So could Dany possibly swing by there, free all those slaves before she heads back to Westeros?
Yeah, I think ultimately her goal is just to liberate everyone. I don't think she's going to head back to Westeros before she goes through all the cities. I kind of feel like maybe Volantis is the last city left. I know there's no slaves in Pentos and there's no slaves in Bravos, so she probably will just go to Volantis. I do think Dany will meet Yara at some point. I don't think Yara went to Volantis for anyone other than Dany. I think Yara is taking Victarion's storyline. Who else is there? If Dany goes back to Westeros and Yara doesn't meet her, like, what is she doing there? Nothing. She's not gonna go meet Arya.
Okay, so we know Dany's going to head back to Westeros at some point. We're guessing by the end of the season we'll at least see her leaving Essos and heading to Westeros, but how could she do that? So we know Dorne Martell down in Dorne, he's up to something. That boy's up to something. We know he has no love for the Lannisters or the Baratheons. He pretends like it when Jaime's down there, trying to send Trystane back to the capital to be on the small council. He didn't count on the Sand Snakes getting involved in killing Marcella. So could there be an alliance set up between Dorne and Daenerys already before she arrives at home, perhaps set up through Varys?
Yeah, because we do know that Varys leaves Meereen before Tyrion leaves Meereen. We did see pictures of the guy who plays Varys in the Dorne set, so no one knows if that was for promotional material. I don't think it was promotional material because we haven't seen anything yet so far. So I think he may have been filming scenes in Dorne. Who else was in Dorne? Lady Olenna. So that ties the Tyrells into that storyline as well. Another thing that we've heard from filming news is that there will be blood in Dorne, so there's going to be some fighting there. What do you think is going to happen, Chris?
I think there will be blood in Dorne, because if you didn't know, all men are made of water. And when you poke holes in them, the water leaks out and they die.
The other people that we know tie into the Targaryen storyline are the Greyjoys. We already know that Yara is doing that part, but also Euron. Euron was the one who wanted to get to Dany. He wants to get the dragons too, so will Euron be part of that as well? I kind of feel like he's going to start raiding a little bit in the south. He may start raiding Old Town. He may go raid Highgarden. I think that's something the Tyrells may have to deal with, so maybe there's going to be an alliance between the Tyrells and Dorne to go against the Lannisters and the Greyjoys.
And the Tyrells will be happy to back anybody that are opposed to the Lannisters, and we know Tyrion is the best Lannister slayer of them all. And speaking of Varys and the potential Dornish alliance, Varys also has some other business to take care of in King's Landing. I'll leave that kind of vague to avoid spoilers, but let's just say he needs to prepare for Dany's arrival.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of drama in Vostothrak for a while. I don't think she's instantly going to get rescued, but ultimately she will go back to Meereen with her new Khalasar and get across the Narrow Sea and head towards home. And of course, she's got bigger problems awaiting her over there that she don't even know about yet. All right, also guys, we did a prediction video on Jon, so be sure to click here to see that on Val's channel because Geek. Thanks again, Val, for being back on Smokescreen. Be sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Wait, hold on.
Are you waiting on me?
I'm just gonna use that. It's fine.